Hello, everyone. Juxtaposition here. Hope you enjoy the view behind me here. This is the sandy beach, man-made sandy beach at Lake Anza inside of Tilden Park. Tilden Park is part of the East Bay Regional Park System of Alameda County and Contra Costa County, two counties that this extensive, expansive 25,000 acres of parks extends through numerous cities. And you should know that this particular depiction of the lake, Lake Anza, which was constructed in 1938, 87 years ago, man-made lake, it's part of Contra Costa County, which of course is vexing to juxtaposition here because I see City of Berkeley police cars up atop over where the porta potties are, or AKA the flush toilets. And the park is closed. It doesn't open until April 26th. This photograph was taken on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2026, when allegedly they discovered a dead body of a postgraduate student from India who's a scholarly student, a leader in the Indian Institute of Technology, a scholarly student, Sakith Serena Sia, and his body was found dead here, allegedly. We have no confirmation of this from the City of Berkeley Police. As you see, there is no Contra Costa County Sheriff's Department or detective present during this Valentine's Day massacre of one person. So doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why the City of Berkeley is hanging out on property belonging to Contra Costa County, but there they are. Now, to back up a little bit, today's video is going to be entitled Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. The four horsemen of the apocalypse, of course, are who the dead guy that was pulled out of this lake, allegedly is like 53-degree temperature lake, allegedly. A scholar student getting a master's degree in molecular chemistry at the University of California, Berkeley. There's no Berkeley campus policeman here either. That's another red flag. Where is the University of California, Berkeley Police Department? They have one, but they're not present. The City of Berkeley police are present. And that boat in the center of the lake there, that's Alameda County dive team. That's Alameda County, but we're not in Alameda County. We're in Contra Costa County. Why isn't there a Contra Costa County boat and a dive team? So everything is like a Hollywood crisis here. We have the wrong police. We have the wrong county dive team. We have the correct lake, but nothing makes sense here. And the idea that you'd have a 22-year-old dead in the center of this lake, of course, is preposterous. I've swum in this lake. Yours truly has swum in this lake at least 2 times in my life. And I've bicycled by it and run on the trails. Dozens of times. I've cycled it hundreds of times, in the hundreds, like more than 300 times. All right. The four horsemen of the apocalypse are the people who this kid worked for. In other words, his master's degree would have to be signed off by his dean of the School of Chemistry and Molecular Biology. And that's Jamie Cates, right? So he's one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. The leader of the pack, of course, is Jennifer Doudna, who just so happens to be the wife of Jamie Cates. So we have the two most interesting people who are implicated in the murder of the 22-year-old Sakith Azad. Do you think these two have been brought in for questioning by the Berkeley police or by the Contra Costa County Sheriff or the Alameda County Sheriff? I doubt it. Jennifer Doudna? Do you doubt Jennifer Doudna? I do. I doubt her. Jennifer Doudna, who has a PhD and a master's degree from Harvard University, and she is the chancellor of biomedicine at University of California, Berkeley, Cal Berkeley. So she doesn't report to the chancellor of the university. She's above him. She reports to the RAND Corporation and the Hughes Space and Communications Company and NATO and Swiss Bank Authority, because you do know that Jennifer Doudna is a founder of CRISPR Therapeutics, right, in Zug, Switzerland. So in other words, I have a woman who has a laboratory at 2151 Berkeley Way, okay, right next to Phoebe Hearst Avenue, and she's surrounded by Oxford Street, and Walnut Street. In other words, Jennifer Doudna has her own friggin' laboratory. It's called the Doudna Laboratory. It's part of the Innovative Genomics Institute, which her husband is in charge of. Jamie Cates is in charge of the Innovative Genomic Institute, which is on the second floor of the building that Jennifer Doudna has, the Doudna Lab. Does this look like an unholy alliance to you? It does to me. The building includes a park and a pathway closed to traffic, and it is surrounded by Phoebe Hearst Avenue on the north and Berkeley Way on the south, and Oxford Street on the east, and Walnut Street on the west side of the Doudna Lab, aka Innovative Genomics Institute. So you see, the building and the park are flanked by Hearst Avenue, Oxford Street, Berkeley Way, 2151 Berkeley Way, and Walnut Street. You should know that the distance from that building, which, by the way, is where the dead guy went every single day for class, including Saturdays, he would go to 2150 Berkeley Way to earn his master's degree in molecular chemistry under the tutelage of Jamie Cates. And the distance from there to this crime scene is 2.6 miles. But don't let that fool you. Don't let that fool you. It's 2.6 miles from the University of California campus building for Jennifer Doudna and Jamie Cates and the dead guy, Sakith Siravasaya from India. It's 2.6 miles. But to put that in Midwestern terms is like 20 miles away, okay? Because it's 2.6 miles with about 200 hairpin turns and corners, and you got to go up 1,800-foot hillside, which most people consider a mountain. We don't. We call it the Berkeley Hills. You have to navigate the Berkeley Hills, and there is no straight line up there. You could take Marin. That is a partial straight line, straight up, 16% gradient. But you're talking about terracing back and forth, north to south along the Berkeley hillside. And technically it's 2.6 miles, but I'm just telling you, you're going to have an average speed of about 10 miles an hour because it's so curvaceous. And there's a number of stop signs that you need to stop to. Anyway, it is now appearing that the dead guy, whose name is Sakith, let's just call him Sakith, he apparently had provisional housing in what is called the Park Hills area of Tilden Park. Tilden Park is 2,789 acres. This is approximately the same size as the Bohemian Grove in Sonoma County. However, having been in both locations, I've always thought that Tilden Park seemed much larger than the Bohemian Grove because they have a steam train for children. They have an 18-hole municipal golf course. They have a driving range within the city of Berkeley limits on Grizzly Peak Boulevard. Very important. Grizzly Peak Boulevard is the highest altitude paved road. It's a 2-lane road with a center line. It is a road that travels along the Berkeley hillside ridgeline at the highest point. And I've always thought that everything to the west of that was the city of Berkeley, but I was wrong. It turns out that there's 2 blocks to the east of Grizzly Peak Boulevard that does fall within the jurisdiction of the City of Berkeley Police Department, which could partially explain why that City of Berkeley police van is there, truck, SUV, whatever it is, because it is close to the border of the city of Berkeley and Alameda County. What you do know is the next major road is called Wildcat Canyon, and everything on the northeast side of Wildcat Canyon belongs to the Contra Costa County Sheriff's Department. And that truck, that City of Berkeley police truck, is trespassing in a different county than Alameda. So, hey, get back to base, Daddy-O. You're in the wrong place. We'll let the City of Orinda police handle it from here. City of Orinda is much closer to this lake than the police station is for Berkeley. All right. What you should know, people, besides the fact that we seem to have the wrong law enforcement people at this crime scene, there's also another horseman, Jonathan Weissman, who also helped found the Innovative Genomic Institute, with Jennifer Doudna, but then turned it over to her husband, Jamie Cates. So those three are prominent leaders of the apocalypse. The fourth person is a clone, it's a mini-me version of Jennifer Doudna, Rachel Horowitz, a Jewish girl who likes to run marathons. I don't know how you could be the CEO of a $1.5 billion company, Caribou Biosciences, which is located right on the border of Earl Warren Highway, Highway 13, Ashby Avenue, in Berkeley, approximately 3 miles away from where the dead guy went to take his classes. And Jamie Cates and Jennifer Doudna have offices and laboratories. They're 3 miles away from Rachel Horowitz, who was a PhD student and was given a doctorate from UC Berkeley, signed off by Jennifer Doudna. She was one of Jennifer Doudna's students at Cal Berkeley, Rachel Madcow, and she graduated. Rachel Horowitz graduated from Berkeley under the tutelage of Jennifer Doudna and immediately became CEO of a company that uses the CRISPR technology, which is developed by Jonathan Weissman and Jennifer Doudna, to Frankenstein monster human beings on the planet. It's called neuromodulation, and they also call it CRISPR, right? CRISPR. And everyone on my channel who is a paid member knows exactly to a T what I'm talking about. Everybody knows what CRISPR means. CRISPR is a military acronym, and it refers to clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats, right? You knew that, right? If you're watching this video, do like and share my videos, but do share them because I am heavily shadow banned. Nobody in the world wants you to know what CRISPR is, least of all Jennifer Doudna or Rachel Horowitz. They give dozens of TED Talks and they appear on YouTube videos, and they'll refer to CRISPR technology and CRISPR intellectual property, but they'll never tell you what I just uttered, those words: clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats. You're never going to hear that out of the pie hole of Jennifer Doudna or Jamie Cate or Jonathan Weissman or, God forbid, Caribou Biosciences CEO, marathon runner Rachel Horowitz, which I'm just telling you, if you train for marathons in aluminum chalk polluted atmosphere, you'll have no energy to run a company that works closely with Novartis. You do. Novartis is running the show. Rand Corporation and Novartis are the singular most important people. Department of Energy, Rand Corporation, DARPA, and Novartis run Berkeley, not the chancellor. The chancellor, the president of the University of California, Berkeley, does not boss around Jennifer Doudna or Jamie Cates, who are department head status, and Jennifer Doudna has chancellor status herself, chancellor of biomedicine, for crying out loud, even though she has no medical degrees and she doesn't see patients. She has a PhD in electrical engineering. So that doesn't really qualify you to know about people, does it? Unless you're Frankenstein monster manipulating their gene through gene editing and CRISPR. CRISPR, clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats. It's called electroshock treatment. That's what we called it when Timothy Leary did it at Harvard. They called it electroshock treatments of Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, who, by the way, sent 2 Unabombs to Corey Hall, which is exactly 2 blocks away from where Jennifer Doudna and Jamie Cates' laboratory is. It's walking distance to where Ted Kaczynski sent 2 bombs in 1982 and 1985 to the 4th floor, where smart dust is created, where Rand Corporation has an office, where the DARPA people come. The DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Project of the Department of Defense for NATO forces, is 2 blocks from this building. All you have to do is walk past the Earl Warren building. Earl Warren, the head of the Warren Commission, he has a building named after him. He has a Highway 13 named after him too. Highway 13, the Earl Warren Highway. Highway 13, unity amongst Masons. And yes, Earl Warren is a Mason. But anyway, what I'm trying to tell you people, if you're not aware, Cal Berkeley is a military weapons facility, as is Massachusetts Institute of Technology, as is Harvard University. They are all 100% NATO military weapon research facilities. They are part of the Department of Energy, and they are part of the Department of Defense, and they are all 100% controlled by Swiss Bank Authority and NATO forces. And that's who Jennifer Doudna works for. That's who Jamie Cates works for. That's who Jonathan Weissman works for. And yes, that's who Rachel Horowitz works for with Caribou Biosciences. They all work for NATO and Swiss bankers. They are the four horsemen of the apocalypse. All right, now I will show you photograph face mugshots of each of these four horsemen, and I will provide a photograph of the dead victim who was killed in a ritual fashion in winter. You know, it's rained every single day in the last 2 weeks in the city of Berkeley and the San Francisco Bay Area. It rains every day, all night and all day. It's like Noah's Ark time down here. And that is, of course, completely abnormal for, you know, I've lived here my whole life. I know what the weather's like. And we have weather warfare going on here, which is a part of CRISPR, which is a part of all the pollution in the sky. It can manipulate the weather. It can make it rain when it shouldn't. It makes the skies polluted when they should be blue skies and clear. We haven't had a clearer sky day in over 3 years. It's been 38 months since I've seen a clear blue sky day over the San Francisco Bay Area. 38 months. And the news meteorologists never mention that we've never had a clear sky day. And we just had the Super Bowl here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and they didn't pan the sky to show you all the chemtrails above the football stadium, Levi Stadium, at a 13 address in Mountain View, California, which is 46 miles south of the city of San Francisco. In other words, the Super Bowl was not played in the city of San Francisco. It wasn't played in San Francisco County. It was played in Santa Clara County in the city of Mountain View. You know, where NVIDIA is, right? Where Moffett NATO Air Base is. That's where they played the steroid stupid bowl. I want everybody to know what CRISPR is, but to really start at the beginning of the story, what you have to ask yourself, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, the molecule came first. And the molecule, listen up, people, put down your beverage and listen up and get a pen and pencil and a notepad out. A molecule is a group of two or more atoms that are held together by attractive forces, which are referred to as chemical bonds. And it depends on the context. The term may or may not include ions that will satisfy that criterion. In quantum physics, organic chemistry, and biochemistry, the distinction from ions is dropped, and molecule is often used when referring to polyatomic ions. Molecule, in other words, it's a loosely used vocabulary word, the word molecule. A molecule may be homonuclear, that is, consisting of atoms of just one chemical element, or it can be two atoms, for example, with the oxygen molecule of O2, or it can be heteronuclear, which is a chemical compound of more than one element, for example, water, H2O, right? All right, enough of the science gibberish. Let's move on to the next link in the chain. The next node on the network is then we go from the concept of molecule, which I just defined for you, and we move on to the study of molecule and molecular biology. And don't forget, we have microbiology, and today we have nanobiology and nanotechnology and electrical engineering that have now been blended together at the Innovative Genomics Institute with Jamie Cates and Jennifer Doudna. Now, Jonathan Weissman is associated with that, but he's back at Harvard University. He's been Cambridge, Massachusetts, hovering between MIT and Harvard. All right. You should know that Jonathan Weissman also went to Yale University, but he got a PhD from MIT. So he goes to Yale, MIT, and Harvard, but he seems to spend most of his time in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Whereas Jamie Cates is the head of the Innovative Genomics Institute and the chemistry department for electrical engineering and molecular biology at Berkeley. It's confusing because you see they've taken biology and they've carved it up and created this hybrid that includes electrical engineering and neuromodulation and CRISPR Therapeutics, which is actually a weapon system. And they've created a study of a weapon system on how to human augment people and tether them to the AI. Remember, the AI is coming? Well, the AI is coming to you from Harvard and MIT and University of California systems, but particularly Berkeley, California, and the University of California, San Francisco is involved, as well as dozens of other universities. But the main place is Berkeley, California, followed quickly by Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Cambridge, followed by Harvard. Those are your three universities who are involved in the demo side of the human race. In other words, post-humanity, the end and destruction of humanity, the apocalypse. The four horsemen of the apocalypse are Jennifer Doudna, Jamie Cates, Jonathan Weissman, and Rachel Horowitz. The universities that they represent are MIT, Harvard, and Berkeley. And so the three universities that pimped out these criminals are MIT, Harvard, and Berkeley. Got it? Good. Molecular biology is a branch of biology that seeks to understand molecular structures and the chemical processes that are the basis of biological activity within the cell. And you do know that our dead guy, he has an undergraduate degree in cellular medicine. Here in California, we call it precision medicine or e-pharmacy or personalized medicine. That's what you'll be hearing. CRISPR. CRISPR is a weapon system. It's a military weapon system designed to trace, track, and target you 24/7, to use your real ID verification to be your DNA, your bone marrow, your PCR test, your urine test, your blood test, any type of skin graft, swab in your mouth, saliva swab, you got a PCR test, you got a COVID shot, you got an Omicron booster, you got a bird flu shot, you're hooked up to the internet 24/7, Daddy-o. They took your DNA, they put it in a database, they used molecular biology, molecular communication, molecular engineering, neuromodulation, CRISPR, and they've got you hooked up to a 24-year-old keyboard commando who's getting a PhD either at MIT or Harvard or Princeton or Cal Berkeley. That's who's monkeying with people. Young kids who are working on their master's or their doctorate at one of those schools, MIT, Harvard, or Berkeley, and they are experimenting with human beings who are tethered to the cloud through molecular biology, molecular communications, molecular engineering, neuromodulation, CRISPR. I hope everybody is starting to understand that these are different vocabulary terms for the same thing. You're tethered to the cloud. And by the way, if you're not vaccinated, you're still tethered to the cloud too. They've tethered every single moving creature on Earth to the cloud. Now, if you're vaccinated or you're eating lots and lots of vaccinated farm animals like chickens and hamburgers, and all of those animals, those farm animals, are mandatory vaccinated for COVID, it means you have a really strong signal. If you've given lots of PCR tests because you wanted to get on a plane or go to a meeting or go to a party at RFKJ's house and Cheryl Hines required that you get a PCR test, which is a DNA collections procedure, then you have a strong signal, and that the graduate students from Harvard and MIT and Berkeley can draw a bead on you, and they can send a 60 terahertz bullet right to your brain and give you a manic episode and put you down like Betsy Arakawa. And the coroner will call it rodent droppings, that you died of rodent droppings, or that you died like Aaron Valente and it was a manic episode, right? I mean, I'd like to know the cause of death of this Keith. Don't you want to know how he died? Did he drown in Lake Anza? I'm telling you, there's zero chance he drowned in Lake Anza. Now, was he murdered and dumped there? Sure, that's possible, although it is complicated to do that. It is complicated to do that. I know he didn't swim to the middle of the lake and then weight himself down like Johnny Roselli. Johnny Roselli floated to the surface, and he was in a 55-gallon steel oil drum, and he still floated to the surface despite all the holes that were drilled into that drum. How come this kid was at the bottom of Lake Anza, which is probably 20 feet in the mud, and he didn't float to the surface when Johnny Roselli did, and he had a steel drum all over him? Okay, so I think that he was killed somewhere else and his body was found somewhere else, and then that this is a photo op for a Hollywood scene featuring the city of Berkeley police who do not belong on that property, and you deleted the Contra Costa County Sheriff who does belong on the property, and the University of California Regents Police Department, which is nowhere to be found in this case, even though one of their student visa superstars is allegedly missing in action. And they've told us that we found his passport in a backpack near the lake or somewhere along Park Hills Road, where presumably he lives in one of the 30 or 40 houses on Park Hills Road, which will take you to an 18-hole golf course and a driving range, which is a municipal, open to the public park. You should know that about a half a mile away from the Lake Anza is a merry-go-round, which is closed now. And then there's a petting zoo, which is open. However, you should know that the road that the police car drove to get down to Lake Anza, that road is closed until March 31st. That road will not reopen. So the petting zoo is pretty much dead because it's a mile walk to get to the petting zoo from Wildcat Canyon Road. And most mommies with little children who want to go pet the animals at the zoo, they're not going to walk a mile with their children and then another mile to get back to their car, because there is a little parking lot there where allegedly the backpack was found somewhere in that general area. They won't tell me. I have to guess. I have to guess where the guy's backpack is. Okay. And I'm pretty much sure he didn't go down to that sandy beach. He would have taken the Silby Trail, which means he was to the left of the picture behind my head. Off camera, you wouldn't see where our Selby Trail comes down. And it actually doesn't go all the way to the water line. You'd have to go across some vegetation to get to the lake. It is not a lake that has much of a shoreline whatsoever. That sandy beach is the only real shoreline that exists. There's two paths that go down close to the lake, but you got to get over some weeds and some roots to get to the water. And you aren't going to swim to the middle of the lake and then submerge yourself 20 feet in 53-degree water. Natalie Wood couldn't do it, and neither could Johnny Roselli. So I'm telling you that I don't care how smart this Indian gentleman is, Sakeeth, he didn't do it. Jennifer Doudna can't do it. Jamie Cates can't do it. Jonathan Weissman can't do it. Rachel Horowitz cannot do it. And you know what? Neither can Houdini on a magic carpet. So what I wanted to tell you is I will post links to all of these 4 horsemen, and I will post links to molecular engineering, molecular biology, molecular communications, CRISPR Therapeutics, which is the billion-dollar company in Zug, Switzerland, which is home to cryptocurrency and central bank digital currency. And of course, it's home to your real ID, DNA, CRISPR Therapeutics, which is what that is. If you don't have a real ID, CRISPR doesn't work. CRISPR doesn't work unless you have real ID verification. That's when it works best. You could probably monkey around with some unknown person with CRISPR neuromodulation, but it won't work as well as if you actually knew who the person was and you had their medical records handy. That's the whole point of a real ID, to integrate your doctor records and your laboratory results and your academic records with your employment records, with your income tax records, with your financial bank account records. Do you see how dangerous this is that we're integrating? You have no privacy whatsoever when you have a real ID. You have no privacy. They're selling it that you'll have secure privacy when the exact inverse is the reality. You'll have zero privacy. The authorities who are faceless and you didn't democratically vote for them, they can murder you anytime they want. And they can call it a manic episode or rodent dropping toxicity, or that you drowned in Lake Anza and you're from India. And what is disturbing here is that was February 14th that his dead body was pulled out of that lake, allegedly. And I'm bringing you this broadcast on the 19th. So we've had 4 days that have gone since this body has been discovered. He was missing for 6, so it's 10 days that the kid's been missing. And in 10 days, I have heard not a peep out of Jennifer Doudna, who's the chancellor of biomedicine in the building that this kid worked in, and her husband, Jamie Cates, who would direct the master's degree program for this kid and have to sign off on his master's degree. He hasn't issued a statement of condolences. The Berkeley police has not indicated any public statements on this case. They haven't confirmed the identity of the boy. The Alameda County Sheriff hasn't identified him. They don't have the authority or jurisdiction to do that. Neither has Contra Costa County. Rachel Horowitz, who probably knew this kid since he's working at her desk. She used to work at that desk before she became the CEO of Caribou Biosciences. So it's probable that Rachel Horowitz knows the deceased. It may or may not be possible that Jonathan Weissman in Cambridge, Massachusetts knew him. Let's assume he doesn't know the deceased, but Jamie Cates knows him. Jamie Cate and Jennifer Doudna knows him personally, and Rachel Horowitz probably knows him. And that's 3 out of the 4 of the horsemen of the zombie apocalypse. It's a zombie apocalypse because they're going to use CRISPR technology of clustered, regularly interspaced short polymeric repeats to disable the tenets of thinking and your cognition. It's also known as cognitive warfare, electronic neuroscience cognitive warfare. You heard it here, and you will only hear it on the Juxtaposition channel. You will only hear it from me. You're talking about cognitive neuroscience warfare, electronic warfare that uses light, photonic energy, optogenetics, sound, ultrasonic, ring cameras, LED lights, photons, linear accelerator, and magnetic resonance bouncing off all the toxic waste in the air and the molecules around your head, which are aluminum and plastiques. They can murder you using the air above your breathable air, space, the troposphere, the soil, the dirt, the grass blades, and the sounds and light energy of the sun and of the LED lights in your neighborhood. Jamie Case is, like I said, he's the professor of chemistry and biochemistry, biophysics, and structural biology. His department is called the Molecular and Cell Biology Chemistry Department. And that's where this deceased, Keith, was assigned to him. Jamie H.D. Cate is a professor in chemistry and molecular and cell biology. He has a Bachelor of Science degree from University of Denver in 1990, master's degree from University of Colorado, 1994, and a PhD from Yale University, 1997. He's married to Jennifer Doudna. That is scary. Now, Jennifer Doudna is the only of the 4 horsemen that has a Nobel Prize. She's a Nobel laureate. So that's why she gets to be the chancellor of biomedicine, despite having no medical licenses, nor does she see patients. What she sees is postgraduate students and has them be keyboard commandos to Frankenstein monster, clueless people walking around wanting to watch the Super Bowl. All of these people do have awards, but none greater than Jennifer Doudna. Let me review Jennifer Doudna for you because she is really the leader of this wolf pack. Jennifer Ann Doudna, who, by the way, lives off of the Tunnel Road Warren Freeway. She's 2 blocks off Tunnel Road near the Claremont Hotel. In case you didn't know, it's not hard to find where she lives with Jamie Cate. She's an American biochemist who has pioneered work with CRISPR gene editing. Gene editing means human augmentation, okay? They won't use the word that they mean. They mean human augmentation. And she's made other fundamental contributions into biochemistry and genetics. She received a 2020 Nobel Prize in Chemistry, which she shares with Emmanuel Carpentria in Paris, France. So it's not just Jennifer Doudna. She's co-founders with Emmanuel Carpentria of Paris in creating CRISPR Therapeutics in Zug, Switzerland. They also have offices in London and in Boston, Massachusetts, and in University of California, San Francisco, Mission Bay. And I'm telling you, she's got a genomics laboratory at Cal Berkeley, which they don't want you to know about. But I'm telling you, there's actually 5 locations. There's actually 6 locations for CRISPR, minimum of 6. There's Rachel Horowitz's Caribou Biosciences. She's using the CRISPR CAD program licensing. She's licensed for Novartis and and CRISPR Therapeutics. So we have Caribou Biosciences is using CRISPR. Cal Berkeley at 2151 Berkeley Way and the Innovative Genomics Institute, they're using CRISPR Therapeutics technology. University of California, San Francisco, Mission Bay, they're using CRISPR there. In Boston, Massachusetts, they're using CRISPR there. Across the Charles River from MIT and Harvard. In London, England, they're using CRISPR there. In Zug, Switzerland, using CRISPR. That's up to 6, right? 6 places. You know that Jennifer Doudna is, of course, the Chancellor of Biomedicine for University of California, Berkeley, but she's also been associated with Howard Hughes's Medical Institute for Precision Medicine, which is code for neuromodulation. Jennifer is the Li K. Shing Chancellor Chair Professor of Chemistry and Molecular and Cellular Biology at UC Berkeley, but then so is her husband. So I guess they're like clones, right? Her husband has the same title that his wife does. Talk about creepy. By the way, these are their second or third marriages. In 2012, Doudna and Emmanuel Carpentria were the first to propose CRISPR Cas9, and that's what they use at Caribou Biosciences. They use Cas9, which is enzymes from bacteria that control microbial immunity system. You know, does that sound like giving you COVID? Since there is no such thing as COVID. COVID stands for Certification of Vaccine Identification Artificial Intelligence. That's what COVID is. That's hooking you up and tethering you to the cloud. That's what COVID is, right? But the real game is CRISPR neuromodulation to edit your DNA and turn you into a Frankenstein zombie walking around The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead. That's what the zombie apocalypse is. That's what the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse stand for. They symbolize living creatures who are basically robots. They're zombies. They walk around, but they have no thoughts of their own. They await the command. We have that all over the world today. All over my neighborhood, I got zombies. They don't see the planes. They don't hear the planes, which are right in your face. All right. Anyway, Jennifer Doudna, I will give you links. You should drill in and study Jennifer Doudna. You should study her husband, Jamie Kate. You should go to school on Jonathan Weissman, who's younger than they are. He's more like early 50s, where Jamie Cates and Jennifer Doudna are, 61, 62. Jennifer just had a birthday, so she's 62 now. And her husband is about the same age. Whereas it's 10 years back, we don't have a birth date for Jonathan Weissman. I do know that Rachel Horowitz is 40 years old, so she's, 22 years younger than the two leaders. Jennifer Doudna and Jamie Cates are the leaders of the wolf pack, so to speak. But it's Jennifer Doudna who has that Nobel laureate, who she wields it like a dagger to defend herself, and she'll never, ever utter the words of human augmentation, which is what she represents. Gene editing has struggled to go commercial. This is the Nobel laureate. Jennifer Doudna has a $1 billion plan to fix that. Oh, yeah, it's not going to struggle. Here comes the AI. Here comes Jennifer Doudna. She's coming right at you, right at your front temporal lobe to turn you into a Frankenstein monster. So everything you learned by watching horror movies with Hollywood, today we have that with Jennifer Doudna. She is the Wicked Witch of the West. Truly, she is. We have numerous wicked witches out here in California, but I would say the queen of all the witches is Jennifer Doudna, not Ivy Love Getty. This powerful technology of CRISPR enables scientists to change and modify DNA of human, the coding of life, with the precision only dreamed of just a few years ago. Nobody dreamed of this. This is a military program to destroy humanity. Laboratories worldwide have redirected the course of their research program to integrate this new tool called CRISPR and CRISPR revolution of human augmentation, which they don't use that word, I just inserted, huge implications across biology and medicine. That's precision medicine. That's e-pharmacy. That's Frankenstein monster. I will send you these links. Hold on to your hat, because you're going to have you're going to freak out. I'm going to post the pictures of the people that I want you to know, who are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and our dead victim who was discovered on Valentine's Day at 2:00 in the afternoon. So I'm just telling you, if you're a dead body pulled out of a lake that's been closed for 3 months and doesn't open until April 26th and has no easy access to the center of that lake, then it's a murder. Okay. It's a homicide murder. It's not a suicide, and it is not a drowning. Okay. Nobody is going swimming in Lake Anza in a rainy for 2 weeks in a row. Every day it's raining, and you can't even see your hand in that lake because of the mud, all the mud in that lake. It's a brown lake because of all the rain washing down all the mud and the clay from the Silby Trail and the Crystal Springs Trail, Crystal Mineral Trail. They dragged mud into Lake Anza. And the victim, Sakith Serene Vazia, was murdered. And he may have been dumped in the lake, or he may have been dumped on the shoreline, or he may be dumped in a parking lot, or he may be dumped at a home on Park Hills Road above Wildcat Canyon. I don't know, because the media doesn't report in a professional journalistic style, because, it's the Mockingbird media. They want you to guess what's going on here. All right. So that's my video. Please do share. I am heavily shadow banned, and do become a paid member of my channel. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.